like love. Love is worth saving.
I don't know love.
Now encompasses everything. Does it not?
It's all there is.
It's all there is.
You choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart.
Being the inclusiveness of all people, you have to respect where this came from. You have to respect the older values based on collective emotional systems, collective emotional responses over time. And here's a quote by Peterson. What people value can never be contained by any intellectual formula. So to integrate the good parts of this new awareness of socialism, potentially such as healthcare, some education benefits, definitely the idea that everyone is of equal value, into the capitalist system, you need something like mutual respect and collaboration. It's not all or nothing like the pundits keep insisting. But the problem is it's not happening. And there doesn't seem to be a way to make it happen, and there's a total impasse. So what are we going to do? Well, maybe now all we've got is ourselves. So there's a quote in Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance that I love. The future is going to be changed by individuals making quality decisions, and that's all. And then after that quote, he goes on to say, God, I don't want to have any more enthusiasm for big programs full of social planning for big masses of people that leave individual quality out. So it seems like all we can do is change ourselves right now to do our best to live a quality existence, and hope it catches on. So I hope that made sense.
So this is how bad I have failed this evening's throws for mind control. Dum 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 dum. Dum dum da dum. It's that bad. And whoosh.
What's this one say? Knowing the truth would be a different kind of happiness. A more satisfying kind, I think, even if it turned out to be a sad kind. Oh. Anyway, this is the Grimgris stream for April 28th, 2025. 2025. We're going to be doing a Reaper's Harvest. That's why it says that on the thumbnail. And those, as well as my own selection of Peterson Thiel highlights on today's fabulous Monday. Here's a red church card of the show to get things rolling. The 8 of clubs. The 8 of clubs. I have these dice here. You must get savings throws versus mind control or something. You might need them because you're currently over there watching that thing, that horrendous thing they call a Luke Thompson stream. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see. It's share screen. This thing. this thing. Salvation, will, and time. Now with Hezi.
God is lacking, and we're obviously saying that God is not lacking. Now, Maimonides brings in this. He affirms.
This guy is Maimonides all the time. Savings throws versus Maimonides coming up right after. Okay, bam, says Nico. Thank you for making us feel virtually not alone, says Teo Falele. Tunji, Clint, Spatch, Joe Cross, Sonnenberg, Slicarius, and Mills, all in the house, making us feel virtually not alone. Now you get some savings throws against the mind control, such as the Luke Thompson kind and the kind I use, and the Gerardian Peter Thiel mind control is going to be involved in this stream. So you might want to choose well against that. To see the way it works is that you're swimming in mind control. Everybody's everyone within the sound of my voice, my audience. That's odd audio, and everyone under they are hearing this spell. Especially if they speak the same language, it's me trying to control your mind, to choose how you will resist the mind control, whether it be your will to survival, your social networks, your accumulated wisdom, or the power of your heart. You choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart. I roll them. If the one you chose comes up 10 or higher, half damage from the mind control. And if it's under 10, you take full damage, but you're always taking full damage. And at least you got a chance. You can get bonuses for chatting in the Hive Mind, replay comments, sharing anything that the algorithm, anything that makes the algorithm think this is a good channel gets you a bonus to these savings throws. But to get one, you still must choose. Survival is coming in with the number of transformation 11. Half damage for you, socialists. Better get that replay comment in. That's a 5. That's a 5 for the socialist. Baker's Coven, 13 for the wisdom folks. Half damage for you. Heart folks, 1 for each chamber. Lots of bonuses required. Indigo kids, pair of 8s, 16. Pair of 8s, 16 for you. And now let's roll into
Bing, bing, boom, boom, boom.
It is an awful responsibility which has come to us. We thank God that it has come to us. We thank God that it has come to us instead of to our enemies. And we pray that He may guide us to use it in His ways and for His purposes. His purposes.
Captain Behan, what was your most outstanding experience on this historic flight?
I suppose it was when the clouds opened up over the target at Nagasaki. The target was there pretty as a picture. I made the run, let the bomb go. That was my greatest thrill,
David B is not for a David, right? But he says the rents do, mother fleckers, and he's correct. The Covey link is at the top of the Hive Mind chat, and the kayfabe is hungry. Oh, special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. This is from before you recorded it.
Branded, marked with a coward shame. What do you do when you're branded? Will you fight for your name?
Welcome, therefore, then also to Chad, Matthew, Felty, and Cassandra, who says, what's worse, missing the savings throws or getting less than 10? Missing is because the attendance serves the algorithm. Your smudge is still there. Holy smokes, we better get started soon. What is the title? Peterson Thiel highlights. Oh, yeah, some of these are good. Let's get started with the first one, just to give us something to do. We'll start with the 33rd minute, which, as I recall, Peterson gets entirely. Intelligibility.
Produces an increment in knowledge, both conceptual and practical, and that increment in knowledge is good. But then there's maybe a deeper presumption, which is that increment in knowledge can be good if the point of the knowledge pursuit remains encapsulated in something like the underlying Christian ethos. And then I would say that fractures in a way, perhaps Bacon's a turning point, where the reliance of the scientific...
Bacon is absolutely a turning point, and it's made of people.
Endeavor on these metaphysical presuppositions is questioned, or like when I presented Dawkins with that argument, he just waved his hands over it. He said he doesn't have any metaphysical assumptions underlying his brand of science. And I think that is what the more radical Enlightenment French Revolution types thought, is that no, we've escaped from the underlying religious ethos. Okay, the problem with that is, it seems to me, and I think this might have to do with this apocalyptic kickback, is that once you unmoor yourself from the underlying ethos, which is even the ethos that defines what constitutes knowledge and progress itself, then the Luciferian element of the scientific endeavor can begin to loom extremely large.
Well, again, let's
Looming large. It's looming large. Matthew says, what if begins fundamentally as artificial? That's a hard one to read. I don't know if it's complete or if he means like, what if begins fundamentally as artificial? But it does bring the question to mind. That if the universe is created, then would it not be artificial? And special thanks to Afriel Pilotin, who brings us to 25% of the hey, you guys get to eat goal, available in the link at the top. It's people, says Strange Theology Pete, and in exciting news, my conversation with Pete and my conversation with Benjamin Boyce have been added to the playlist, which theoretically magically adds them to the podcast version of the Fringe Encounters with Griswold Grimm, and we have a new one of those coming up soon to announce. But the Blue Church card of the show is the 10 of spades, and you know what that means. Oh, the Luciferian ideal, as posited by Afriel Pilotin, changing the underlying medical physics to declaring the self with the tiny s, as God with the big G. David says, what are you suggesting? That God is kayfabing as creation? No, but I'm just saying a created thing is an artifice. And therefore, if God created it, it would be artificial. No, because artificial is man-made. But whatever.
What's reality? I don't know. When my bird was looking at my computer monitor, I thought, that bird has no idea what he's looking at. And yet, what does the bird do? Does he panic? No, he can't really panic. He just does the best he can. Is he able to live in a world where he's so ignorant? Well, he doesn't really have a choice. The bird's okay, even though he doesn't understand the world. You're that bird looking at the monitor, and you're thinking to yourself, I can figure this out. Maybe you have some bird ideas.
It is not easy to grasp this point, but the point must be grasped if we are to know more about the ways in which the human mind works. Man, as we realize if we reflect for a moment, never perceives anything fully or comprehends anything completely. He can see, hear, touch, and taste, but how far he sees, how well he hears, what his touch tells him, and what he tastes, depends on the number and quality of his senses. These limit his perception of the world around him. Welcome, therefore, then, to the Grim Gris stream. Peterson Thiel highlights for April 28th, 2025. Reaper Harvest, it says here on this wonderful thumbnail. And Reaper Harvest is insider language, cult lingo for people that watch stuff that I don't watch, or maybe you don't watch, and they find little pieces of it they think are worthwhile, and they bring it to us in the magical, mystical place we call the clip stream on the Broken Clock Tower Discord. It looks like that when you're there, sort of. You can find such gems as...
Hi, this is Paul. I am going to let you know what's been going on Twitter. Now, if you're not on Twitter and you don't...
No, sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes you can click it in here and play it and make it big and it works. But most other times you got to do this. And then this,
I've had it in the corner.
And then this, and even for a 20-second clip, you got to jump through all these hoops.
I sort of have the reputation, and I've had it in the corner of Paul's too nice. And it's like, Paul's too nice up to a certain point, and then you basically signal to me that, okay, we're done with the nice level of our relationship, and now we're going to be into the clarity level of our relationship, and I'll tell you what I really think. I sort of have the reputation.
The clarity level of our relationship. Well, that's fun and exciting. But you see, we're talking here for then about a Reaper Harvest. And in the case of a Reaper Harvest, the way things are supposed to work is not only do the Reapers bring in these wonderful clips, but the other people on the server look at them, and the ones that are good enough to be on this particular Reaper's Harvest stream, they indicate with these little 7 indigo emojis like that. They click on them, and it's like upvoting which ones make it on the stream. That one didn't. This one didn't. Does it go?
We got a question for David Wood real quick.
Gentlemen, thank you for a wonderful debate. Dr. Wood, regarding the I am statements of Jesus in the Gospel of John, the most palpable, powerful, divine statements by Christ, why do you believe that they are omitted from Mark, from Q, from Matthew and Luke, our 4 earliest Gospels, and then John comes along, and these statements are present in John and missing from all of our other sources?
We got a question for David Wood.
Because John was the best. I like him the best. That's why. Oh, wait, what? Oh, no, now you make that one small, and then it shows up like this. You're back here again. Okay. All right, so that's how it's going to go. We're going to go through some of these therefore then, and find the ones with 3 or more votes And that's what's supposed to happen in a reaper's harvest. It's kind of like a show and tell from our community to you, a beholder where these little eyeball stalks have found things, fed it into the big eye, and I show to you, behold, But first, this just in from the hive mind. Brandy S. has said at 11:33 Central Time. I mean, quack, quack. And those who know, those who know. Look, it's a parlato. A wild parlato has appeared. Get your Pokeballs out, ladies and gentlemen. Get your Pokeballs out. Let's see. We need a Juxtadeck card of the show. We do, sure. Here it is. Of course. Of course. Next, therefore, then on with the Reaper's Harvest to the first winner with 6 Indigo vote things. Shelling Gold.
So a shelling.
Am I doing? All right. And then this is working. And then this.
Point is the focal point, the rules or the object or the device or the thing that people settle on without being able to communicate to each other what the rules are. Another example of a shelling point is if you and I have to meet in New York City and we lose our phones and we can't talk, what do? What we do is we meet at the information kiosk at Grand Central Terminal at noon on a Saturday. And then some other percentage of people are going to say the Empire State Building or Times Square, but nobody is trying to meet up at a nail salon in Queens, because a nail salon in Queens is not a shelling point. And so for however many thousands of years, with every civilization that could get their hands on gold was the shelling point for money. So a shelling point.
I don't know that I understand any of that, but it did get a lot of votes. And we do know that it's not a barber shop in Queens. Okay? All right. Next up is with 3 votes, the crisis of narration, a crisis of listening, the elevator pit. From Joy. Nope, you got to do it this way this time.
I am active on social media. I have found a handful of people who have really demonstrated to me what it feels like to be listened to. And having that in the back of my mind, having that in mind, it enables me to speak in a different way. It enables me to speak without having to address the pressure of a busy executive, address the kind of pressure that a busy businessman might imply or might actually directly express to you, that you have 30 seconds, give me your elevator pitch. Even in my life in academia, in my academic career, this concept of the elevator pitch was pretty dominant. It was one of the things that organized our approach to presentations, preparing presentations, practicing presentations, and even writing, to the extent that I am.
Yes. I've got an elevator pitch for Paintball for Jesus. It says, get your kids off of video games and into urban combat training. What?
This is what's happening, which is so funny in the world to me. When you sort of have these hidebound conservatives.
Well, then everyone loses their minds.
I'm looking like the Joker here.
And next up, digital media extending the environment and sensorium.
Even the way we think, because we have a new understanding of our environment. But digital media does something very different. And what I love about his sensorium, his comparison to the extension of your senses. I've even come up with my own term for media technology that I call Uber sense. So it's a type of Uber sense where it's an extension, it's an over sense to where we can use multiple senses and in a sense extrapolate ourselves out into the world in new forms and ways as we're doing right now. So even the way we think, because we have a new understanding.
The bejesus is happening here. Matthew, you're trying to bring up technical details about Discord during a stream. It's inappropriate forum, sir. No, video games aren't half. You're fired. A shelling point. I don't. All right. I don't know. The shelling word gets me. I think it makes it weird. No, see, the best you can do with video games is say it's urban combat tactics. Tactics. You're teaching tactics, but it's not training. It's not training unless you're physically. It's fine. It's fine. That was an overreaction. You're not fired, but tactics, not training. Training has to be the physical motor. Like you're only training your thumbs is the thing. Where are we at? We're doing a reaper's harvest. Let's show the thing. Yes, that's where we go through what other people think is worth sharing with you. And if it's agreed upon by the community with the power of the voting, it gets going. And we got that one. Now we have these three from the same one. The digital age of identity, technologizing self, or anima, exclamation point. We're going with this one, Joy. And thanks for reading.
Trying to treat it as emergent properties of multiple intelligences doesn't help you deal with it. No. It's better to deal with it as a singular thing that's running through. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And
that's why the purpose thing that you said is perfect. Like if you can say there is purpose in understanding this as a unitary intelligence that's running through bodies, and that's kind of cohering them towards purposes. And there's a purpose in doing that too. You can help people understand that the soul is not some magical thing that drops down and that you could, it's not ectoplasm or whatever nonsense that happened in the time of the Spiritists. It is exactly what we're talking about. It's seeing the purpose, it's seeing it come together. And that's even how the church fathers, many of them talked about it. It's not like this is something that we're coming up with now. It's just that we lost the capacity to understand that for a while.
Yeah.
What? Are you saying that intelligence and or consciousness is a substrate that forms into purpose in the shape of peoples, and that our souls don't magically fly from the sun and fall into our bodies? What kind of what even? What even? Well, let's just move on then, shall we, to the next one that got so many votes. Clint D's banger of speaking in typewriter bobblehead, he calls it. Speaking in
Sander from New Jersey.
typewriter.
If Hamas had not stolen the hostages and hidden them in their tunnels and hidden them in civilian homes, this war would have all been different. If they had have given them back, and they could give them back tomorrow, it would all be different. But they didn't. They decided to do what they did on the 7th and to hold on to the 250 odd hostages as it was at the beginning, from the beginning. The second reason why the war is still being prosecuted is because of the stated aim to destroy Hamas, which is the stated aim of the Israelis. Neither.
I don't understand how the wall quit working, but I think to really get through here to what Clint was trying to show, the most appropriate way would be to do it this way. Because he said, yes, see, this is the bobbling of the head he was pointing out, and you can really see it when you fast forward it, watch it like this, I think.
I'm going to the gym.
We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see doing what is right for me. Just lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
And next up on the hit parade, with only 2 votes and not eligible for this stream, Grim Grizz has put in a lobster monkey.
Forensics. It is deeply understanding historical reconstructive methodology. It is a deep analysis of how do you know things. It's not messing up forensics. It is deeply understanding historical reconstructive methodology. It is a
that was poorly told in the show and tell portion. But what he's talking about there is a lobster monkey skill. We don't yet have a lobster, like it's a class in the LARP gate, but it's a lobster monkey skill. So see, lobster monkey is the lobster is the hierarchy, and the monkey is the skill, right? So it's a skill hierarchy of people can get good at this thing. And there's like lots of different things, lots of different types of lobster monkeys, but they're all skill hierarchies. And this is a skill that I wanted to highlight as a skill.
It's not messing up forensics. It is deeply understanding historical reconstructive methodology.
And you can also buy a hat. Now what else? What else then has made it? This one from Terranigma, monster means pattern, from Nico, Discord inhabitant, that guy.
She offers
make me.
The word monster means pattern, by the way. Did you know that means like a sign? It goes way back to the like Proto-Indo-European. The word for pattern in Swedish is mönster. That's what it is. Yeah. Wow. So sovmönster means sleep patterns or something like that. Wow. It's fascinating stuff. But the word monster has changed. But you know what? Even just that definition right there, saying that a monster is essentially a sign or a pattern, that's kind of just gets us to the spiritual realm pretty quickly, actually. And before you know it, we're already talking about demons. And I almost feel like what Ark is doing in the towers, in the underworld, and above, especially with regards to like resurrecting the planets or the land and the life, is something like an exorcism. It seems like he's exorcising the demon.
That's a good one, Nico. I like it. Well done. What do we have next? Click, roll. No, it went back. Wait, did we do? Yeah, we just did that one. No. Mass psychosis?
It would be something that looked like mass psychosis. I was going to say it would look like a false body of Christ. And I know I'm using my Christian presuppositions here, but it would be something like a body, like an organism that had something like unity to it and something like an ultimate goal, but at the expense of everyone's individuality. That's what you give up to join the Borg.
I'm on Westuary 2025, August 22nd through the 24th in Elmhurst, Illinois. A weekend you won't want to miss, with special guests Cale Zeldin, Paul Vanderklay, Rod Dreer, Elizabeth Oldfield, John Vervaeke, and Jonathan Pajot. Midwestuary 2025, the Fellowship of the Spirit. Stay tuned for more details. Visit us at midwestuary.com for ongoing updates.
Oh, we got some coming up. A couple of the clips coming up. They're extra special clips. They're by veteran reapers diving deep and into strange places to find you the best and most juiciest clips, as if there was an agency. But I assure you,
remember, Embody, there is no agency. We want what's best.
Oh, hey, Milan's out there. Sample as in food or sample as in music? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Terranigma is an underrated gem from the classic SNES era. And you should stop teasing people with a discount that is no longer valid. I really should. Or I should mark the hat back down. Really, I don't like it's sad. It's sad. The hat is no longer $26.99. That's a sale that's off. The agency deck card of the show is the Queen of Clubs. Okay. Rolling stage left. What? What's going on out there? But what's going on in here is the next ones are super special. What we have? Ups bringing in a throwback on the things that shape us.
But there are, I think, a lot of seemingly mundane events that can happen that might not seem like that important, but do shape us. As
There's ish that's real, and you don't know how real it is until you suddenly do realize how real it is.
So it's funny that guy's comment, or whatever that person's comment,
Upcycle Club's comment.
I've had this thought before, thinking about what is it like when I'm, because this for me is very common. I can watch film or different arts or things like this and just be like, just fall into, can't really help the fact I'm weeping, right? It's just the way I am. But there are, I think, a lot of.
It's because the pseudo hypnotic state watching entertainment puts you in. Maybe, but that's a great classic back from Amish Grimm. That was a fun guy. What do we got here next? Clint D with the not old one, but it got 3 votes.
Every single day, right? Some of it you have asked for and subscribed to. A lot of it just comes at you, through work and school and the things you need to know, and then entertainment and your phone and your threads and all that. Okay. The problem is the war for your attention is so overwhelming at this point. It's very difficult to learn to give attention to God and to his kingdom. And I want to say, I'm not blaming you for this. A friend of mine said, it's not that we've done something wrong. It's that something wrong has been done to us to just be inhabitants of the earth in this particular moment, which is absolutely madness. But I want to name one thing in this session that might not have come to your attention. It has to do with the fact that we are, all of us, disciples of the internet every single day.
Point taken. Welcome, everybody. All right. Oh, what we have next for you is very super special because one dirty, nasty Afrio Pilotson did the disservice of finding the off-channel After Dark where I put the controversial stuff so this one doesn't get demonetized. And he went there and found the only Fringe encounter that's on there, the notorious one with the Claire Caw. And he brought us a piece of that for you today. Here it is. Can I do it here?
So,
yeah, yes. Here's from that.
Peterson is establishing the antithesis for the Hegelian dialectic that leads us closer to what the WF initially wanted. Because right now, they're like, oh, we're pushing this ridiculous, stupid thing. And then Peterson does the antithesis. And then we end up with something that's between the two, which means we've lost the ground we have now to that ideology. So, but that's the ARC. That's what the ARC project is. So, Peterson.
LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. That was a McMo one, I think. I believe that was a McMo masterpiece. I think that was his stylistic impression, signature thereof. Okay. Oh, therefore then, that'll be the Reaper's Harvest for this week, so we can save what's left for next week. Go, if you're on the Broken Clock Tower Discord, it looks like this. If you can't find the clip stream, stumble into the tavern and say you can't find a clip stream. It might be a key issue. You have to have keys to see such things, but you get those really quick. It's just proof that you're actually there and not a bot and all that stuff. Let's see. Oh, yes, and since that's therefore, we're moving on to the title delivery because I never give you clickbait. I always deliver on the title. It says Peterson Thiel highlights, so we'll be going over those next. It's there's a couple of good ones. Here's a bonus Chuck's deck card of the show, the 9 of Hearts, extra bonus. What are you doing? I wanted to do this. Why? I don't know.
Just king, great king. People error, people king, big, just king, king. Happy, many down, many jack king from right. Just new king, big, great can new, happy. The hours are not what they seem, the hours. Very just king, great king. People error, people king, big, just king, king. Happy, many down, many jack king from right. Just new king, big, great can new, happy. The hours are not what they seem. The hours are not what they seem. The hours people very just king, great king. People error, people king, big, just king, king. King, happy, many down, many jack, king from right, just new king, big, great, can do, happy. The owls are not what they seem, the owls.
We don't need a snuff film this time. Or were you waiting for it? Or were you? Let's go. Let's go. Why we stopped progressing with Peter Thiel. Okay. No, share this tab instead. Our first foray into clips. This highlight reel is gonna be right here at 36-ish.
Scapegoating that in some ways, some sense Judaism and then Christianity, it's the same story. It's the same story of, sacrifice, but it's told not from the point of view of the violent community. It's told from the point of view of the innocent victim. And there's a certain way where it sets in process this gradual, this dynamic revelation that leads to this sort of gradual unraveling. And as you stop believing in scapegoats, you're forced to come up with other explanations, and that includes science. So, for example, you can ask, why did the witchcraft trials come to an end? And the atheist scientific explanation is, we got science to prove that witchcraft is impossible. And I don't think that's even been proven in 2025, because
I see why that was a highlight.
We don't know everything. Maybe it's a lost art that's been lost. Maybe.
Ooh, all right there, pal. All right there, pal. What's our next one? 5450, it says.
Our let me just finish one thought. So
yes, that's the one we're focusing on today. As a matter of fact.
The list? Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room?
I want to cast Magic Missile. The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet.
I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
Yes, Afriel, it is, but we can't talk about things. The Christians have to pretend that things like that don't exist. It's interesting, quite fascinating. But as we're focusing now on this moment, this particular moment, I still need more. Yes, me too.
back to church. Now, see, there's. Let me just finish one thought. So.
If we look down here below at some of the favorite comments by YouTube, the one by Joshua Enos 9001 down here, make it bigger. Let people maybe not that big, where are the comments? What have you done? Aha! He actually talked more. Oh, do it so they can see. He actually talked more than Dr. Peterson controlled the conversation. That's rare. And boy, howdy is it rare. Rare enough that you can see Peterson get irritated with it.
Now, you said that Gerard's answer was you implied aim up, but you also implied go back to church. Now, see, there's let me just finish one thought.
So say we all. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Ho, ho, ho.
It added up.
I was unwilling to sacrifice my tongue. And so what I sacrificed was my job and my clinical career so I could keep my tongue. But there's a Christian element to that too, because the Christian insistence is that the truth-oriented word establishes the order that's good. And so, but I don't think we can escape the sacrificial language.
But I have to address that there's a smudge right there. I can hide it. I can hide in the smudge. It looks like we got Joe and Avriel, Cassandra, R. Henry, and Clint D, as well as Professor Luigi, all scoring a +4 to next stream savings throws for catching me muted and using the magic power of the corn emoji and not just saying in text words, I can't hear you. You get +2 for text words, but +4 for the emoji. It builds community. Now what?
Insistence is that the tongue was up. I was unwilling to sacrifice my tongue. And so what I sacrificed.
Guess I thought that was noteworthy. What's it 116:30?
Written endless amounts has been written on the faith of Abraham, or Abraham is seen as the iconic person with faith. And it's again linked to a certain conception of sacrifice. And yet we have the line in the New Testament where Christ tells us to look at the faith of a child. Maybe you can come up with a better example. I think the concrete one is Isaac. And
it is interesting that it's not written from his perspective.
But we get enough of Isaac's perspective implicitly in the story. That it's all the reviews, when we talk about, whose faith should we emulate? Yeah, the theologians, the philosophers, they always tell us you need to emulate the faith of Abraham. The way I understand Christ, I understand him to be telling me to emulate the faith of Isaac, which I think is very different, and maybe also very different on this question of sacrifice.
Whoa, that's a big one. If you guys don't know, Isaac was the guy. You ever hear the story about how God was crazy and he almost had that guy kill his son? Isaac was the son he almost had the guy kill. It's kind of interesting. That's all of the highlights I have, but I have some good news.
Is everything all right in here?
Yes, Daddy. Over in the clip stream, Lynn also had some suggestions for clips that were worthy from this presentation. So since this is the highlight reel, it's appropriate to run some of those now. Here's the first one.
So this question of, is there really
you got to do it this way this time.
Scientists were basically stealing money from the government, engaging in borderline fraudulent science, or it was incrementalist, not worth much. His area of his area of focus was high temperature superconductivity. He told me at one point there were maybe 50,000 papers written in that area, and maybe 25 out of 50,000 had actually advanced the science at all. And I don't even need to tell you how he started by, it was not just the abstract replication crisis. He started by talking about naming people, and this person has stole money, and this person is a fraud. And
What'll that asshole think of next? Is anybody got a dime?
And here's one that might be interesting called The Day I Was Conceived.
So this question
again is not so this way then.
Hard to say, but if we sort of think of, the Apollo space program as this last great, technological scientific project, there's some sense where July of 1969, where we landed on the moon, and Woodstock started 3 weeks later. And, with benefit of hindsight, in some sense, that's when progress, scientific, technological progress stopped, and the hippies took over the country. And you can describe it in many ways, but in some ways you can describe it as a shift from outer space, from exploring the world outside of us to inner space. And there were sort of all.
I highly suspect it was the day Lynn was conceived. I highly suspect that. David says, sacrifice is the willingness to spend that over which you have stewardship properly, such as by putting it in Grimgris's Ko-Fi link at the top there. This has been the Peterson Thiel highlight stream and Reaper's Harvest for, what do you call it there? April 28th. We're almost in May now. It's all Taurusy. You can see there in the Goose with the Taurus. Oh, there is that. There is that. You see, I did want to. What happened was, I've recently added to the Fringe Encounter recording, soon to be uploaded, me and how to understand the world. And I was trying to make a thumbnail for it. And as such, I fed to the AI Night Slave bots how to understand the world as a prompt, and it kicked this out. And I just wanted to comment on this because while I don't know if it accurately conveys how to understand the world, it does accurately convey how that the way you interface with the crystal ball screens in your phones and on your desktops that show you about the world from inside your home are using the same very personal interface between you and an author when you read a book. And I really thought this conveyed that fabulously in ways that other renderings, when the prompt wasn't how to understand the world, had done. And so I wanted to draw some attention to that. Okay, goodbye.